Welcome to this week's episode of the We'll Make a Fan Out of You podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about the wrestling world. Our aim is to make you a fan of us while we talk about the greatest entertainment on the planet. I'm Aaron Newsome and he is Nitesh T-Dog Sharma.
Bonjour.
You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts from. You can check us out on our YouTube channel, We'll Make a Fan Out of You. And Nitesh will go through the socials because I butchered them last week.
Haha. Hello. You can find us on the social handle at Make a Fan of You. We are on X, Instagram, and TikTok. We churn out a lot of content. We got clips. We have started to do some nice shorter videos on YouTube with reactions and predictions on what's going on in the wrestling world. And that's on our YouTube channel. We'll make a fan out of you. But just follow us on the road to Wrestle Podcastia and
Wrestle Kingdom.
Wrestle Kingdom. That's January.
That's a while away.
Yeah. Follow us on the road. Follow us on the road. You can find us on at Make a Fan of You. We really do appreciate your feedback. Let us know anything good, bad. We want to start building our community. So if you want to jump on the podcast, just drop us a message and we'll have you on and we'll talk about whatever it is that got you into the world of wrestling.
Yeah. And we come out every Monday with a new podcast. At the minute, we've been quite consistent with, is it every Wednesday or Thursday we're putting out a YouTube video?
Yeah, it's about every Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday. So anywhere in between those days, we pop out some videos. So.
As we get more in a rhythm, we'll probably narrow that down to one of those 3 days. But yeah. Now this week's a bit of a different one. No PLEs or pay-per-views. This is the rise and fall of WCW as on the WWE network.
And
just in case.
I'm rocking my New World Order Wolfpack t-shirt for this episode. Yes. Where's your WCW t-shirt?
I don't have a WCW t-shirt. I've got my money in the bank. The only reason I bought this, I didn't even go to the event, was it's one of the few wrestling t-shirts that aren't black.
I prefer the black t-shirts.
Oh, and I think it was like £10 as well.
Ah, makes sense. Yeah.
I was like, I was trying to get the basket over a certain price to get free shipping because that's how they get you.
That's where they get you. Thanks, WWE. When did you start watching WCW then?
I can't remember. It's I think I watched this before WWE though, because this was, I think I said on one of the first episodes, was like Channel 4, Channel 5. I remember Sting being in the ring, clearing out the NWO with a baseball bat. So which year would that be?
That would be between 97 and 98.
98, yeah. So
you would have been 4 or 5, yeah. Watching wrestling.
Definitely should have been watching WCW. Parents had TV in their room that they just put on one of the 5 channels when I was playing around.
Yeah.
So it would have been one of them, and they had a big king-size bed so I could jump around like I was a wrestler. It's great.
Oh, the good old days, man.
And you had one of those big, massive parrot teddy bears. You got one at Drayton Manor or another theme park. Yeah. And it was like another foot bigger than me. So I was like,
that's the one.
This. Yeah.
And if you are my cousin, he used to actually have the Goldberg, like, wrestler teddy bear thing that was like yay big. Okay. Like that big. And then he'd used to wrestle on that all the time, jump around on it. And it was like a full on Bill Goldberg. WCW used to sell them. I, once again, same as you, was always tuning in on like Channel 5 or whatnot as a 4 or 5 year old. Once again, we shouldn't have, but it was a different time back then. And obviously my family, like my cousins and uncle and older brothers, they used to watch WWE and WCW, so that's how I got into wrestling.
This definitely must have been in a good time slot for me to be able to watch it at 5 years old.
So
that's all I'll say.
They used to air Nitro on Channel Bravo. Now, for people that remember that was the big thing, like cable television. Now you'll get Bravo. That's funnily enough where like Takeshi's Castle and stuff like that used to come on back in the day before it was like Challenge TV.
I was going to say, is Bravo still a thing?
No, it's not. I think it's changed like a few times, to be honest.
Watch TV or something.
Yeah. And then replays would come on Channel 5, and I think that's where I started watching it.
So it's definitely probably the highlights. Edited version.
I don't think they would have. They would have put it on at 10 o'clock at night or something like that.
No,
on Friday
I couldn't have been watching it if it was that. I'm sure it was like Sunday afternoon or something. vaguely remember.
It's unlocking like deep memories in the vault, but I do remember like seeing like Booker T and like Hogan, Scott Hall, Nash, Sting, even Ric Flair. Ric Flair's a big boy, and I know they've recently announced that they're doing a new TV show coming out in June.
It's like a docu-series, isn't it?
Yeah, What Killed WCW, and Ric Flair should have been on that, but he's just tweeted out saying, "Why am I not on this show?"
Yeah,
as in standard Ric Flair fashion.
Yeah, exactly. He thinks he should be everywhere, and in certain cases, he is correct.
Yeah, I agree. He's been there since it was like Mid-Atlantic and Georgia Championship Wrestling and stuff.
Yeah, it was the NWA, weren't he? He was NWA champion, National Wrestling Alliance.
Yeah, I never knew that was like all of the companies in one were using the NWA as that banner, so they have different promotions, but all.
Yeah, they almost used it as a way to carve up the territories, the way
I
understood kind of thing.
Yeah, I
gentleman handshake here.
And here's money hit there, and I have my wrestler here. My title can go to the Texas region or the Florida region or whatever.
Yeah, and they explained how Jim Crockett Sr., when he was starting what would become WCW, and that kind of was one of the first ones that did that with Ric Flair. It's the way it came across in this. He went around the different areas and was putting the belt on display.
Yeah.
And then he weren't just doing wrestling. I'm pretty sure they said he was doing boxing
as well, events and yeah.
So it was an actual Jim Crockett Promotions. That wasn't just a tagline. That was what it was.
Yeah, he was promoting sport,
and he was booking the travel, getting the people to the venues, not just going. If you want to work in Florida, you can get there. Or some of the stories that you've seen before about the past was they'd just rock up.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be in New York for so long, get pissed off, and then end up going to Florida, end up going to Chicago or wherever, San Francisco.
Kind of like that nowadays, though, isn't it? With some of the WWE wise, anyways, and to an extent AEW, because they're in different regions every week. They have to sort out their own travel. Yes, it might be paid for by the companies, but
it's not all, is it? I know you can still see some of the WWE stars are having their carpools and that. They're making their own way in places. And then you do have levels to it with Cody Rhodes getting a bus. The Rock probably has a paid for plane that
private jets.
Yeah.
Well, Ric Flair was the private jet man.
Yeah, that's
private jets were cool.
This, isn't there? Yeah, there's 2 private jets at one point. No wonder they got into financial trouble.
Yeah. Before they even could launch everything, right?
Yes, they had Jim Crockett Jr. took over after his dad, didn't he? And it jumps back and forward at one bit because here's Dusty Rhodes talking a little bit. He was involved. Ted Turner was Cable before Cable was called.
I like how you remember that line.
I wrote that down straight away because that was a good line that was.
Yeah.
Kind of just told you everything you needed to know.
Yeah, Ted Turner is a massive wrestling fan as well.
It was Georgia Championship Wrestling at this point.
Yeah. And you had Vader, you had the Road Warriors, you had some cool wrestlers on there. Like, they would... But this was before our time anyways, so...
Yeah, this was like 83 or something.
Yeah, we weren't even in the ether.
No.
We were just swirling around in our father. Was one way to announce that. But yeah, no, so they would swap. They would have your WWF wrestlers, but then they'd go to Georgia Championship Wrestling. And I don't know if you've caught much of that side of the ring, but have you ever seen the episode about Magnum TA?
No, I think I've seen bits of it, and I've read before about it because he's been mentioned before, and I was like, I didn't know much, and then it came up again in this. I was like, oh yeah, that guy. Yeah,
because he was going to be the Hulk Hogan of wrestling. He was going to be the fresh one. He had it all. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they like showing how Ted Turner bought into it in the 80s.
Yeah.
You had, again, Dusty Rhodes was there doing his thing with Ric Flair. They were kind of the other side of the WWF at the time. And then you had... I really like this little tag. I don't know if they ever called it this, but Premier Wrestling Events. I was like, is it PWE, the...
Oh my God.
Forefather of...
PLE or pay-per-view. Yeah.
Before pay-per-views were a thing.
Yeah. Oh, we should start calling them PWEs now.
PWEs.
Yeah, that sounds so much better.
PWE.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then straight away it seemed like they were in trouble because they went through 3 presidents. I think Jim Crockett Jr. was partly involved, but was losing bits.
Yeah,
as it
because
went
they would travel everywhere in private jets, and
they were partying. They were rock stars.
Yeah,
Strode says it, doesn't it?
They were rock stars. They were the alternative before the alternative was cool.
Yeah, they were doing their thing differently to how not just WWF but the NW, the Mid Atlantic Wrestling Association, I think it is. They were doing their own thing. They weren't like, oh, that's the norm, we follow it.
Yeah,
they were innovating it and they were making it the cool thing as quickly as they could, even before they got to Nitro.
Yeah, so their ratings would always be up purely because Ted Turner would give them that sort of time slot, essentially, in TV days back then, where people had to watch wrestling. Because you don't have, you never had your Netflixes, your Triller TVs, your Disney Pluses or whatnot. You'd watch TV and you'd have a specific amount of channels.
And a lot of it was, by the sounds of it, in the local area, which sounds weird in the UK because
nothing was
BBC can get it everywhere, but nothing was nationwide, or by the sounds of it in America. It was all very much
localized.
On in NBC New York or whatever, it was on there. It wasn't on Los Angeles kind of thing, which made sense as well with the time differences.
Yeah. America's a massive place as well.
Yeah, and then it lost me a little bit because they said that WWF came in for Georgia Championship Wrestling, which wasn't WCW at the time. So Jim Crockett's promotion was separate to Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, this is where I started getting confused. But once again, we weren't born then, so we don't really...
Yeah, the way I understood it was they jumped over the NWA to get the TBS slot.
Yeah.
While also being on the USA Network.
Yeah, that was Vince, right?
Vince. Yeah, it was already on the USA Network.
Mm-hmm. But he pulled his toys out of the pram.
Got onto TBS, but only lasted a few weeks.
Yeah. Before,
basically,
Jim
did this... What did they call it? Black Saturday?
Black Saturday, yeah, because they would promote the WWF banner under World Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
But they would have the WWF like logos and stuff. And then Jimmy Crockett had to pay well over $1 million. And that's a lot of money, even back then as well. That was
basically paid for the first WrestleMania.
Yeah, that was one line, right? That paid for WrestleMania to happen.
Yeah, basically, I think they say he's looking at starting something like WrestleMania, trying to get funds together, and all of a sudden he's got this TBS contract that's not working because he's putting a different product together to what Georgia Championship Wrestling was. Yeah, because that kind of didn't work. Somebody basically gave him free money to take that slot.
That's his slot. Yeah. There's pass it here.
And then
Vince made a bit of a profit from it.
Yeah, and by the sounds of it, that time slot they had on TBS was golden.
Yeah.
Because the TV ratings went up, attendances went up. They're recording some of it in Atlanta and then going around different places afterwards as well. And then that's kind of leads into the Great American Bash 1985.
Yeah.
And
my eldest brother was born.
You are. One of the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
It was, that was very much the, not pinnacle, it was like one of the first very big high points by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it was that like sort of, you're on this level, now it's time to go to that level.
Yeah, they went up another rung in the ladder, didn't they?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that year Mania was on as well, right? Yeah. When was the first WrestleMania? I'm going to Google it
I don't know, I'm looking at WCW.
I'm Googling it now. When was the first WrestleMania?
And then this is also the kind of first road bump they also had, because they then showcased the Magnum TA bit.
Yeah, where he had a car crash. He should have been
there, Hulk Hogan, kind of.
Yeah.
He was the next thing.
He was the big thing.
Yeah, had this horror car crash and it basically ended his career.
Yeah.
He's interviewed in this and he looked pretty damn all right, considering...
Yeah, if you do get a chance, watch his Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, definitely. Got to check that out now after... Like, you just go, oh, okay, he's had a really bad car crash. And then you interview him and like, oh, actually,
he looks so... Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not... I know we're going off on one, but it's not like Droz in the WWF who got powerbombed and broke his neck and he couldn't walk again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Magnum TA looked like he could move around and you just couldn't wrestle.
Yeah. And then this is the kind of the bit in the documentary Jim Crockett Jr.'s like, if he got business manager in 2 years earlier, or if they stayed in their little area they were working in and networking around, they'd still be
here today.
But
yeah.
they went for broke. They expanded too quickly. They were around all of the US. This is the point where Ric Flair's got a jet. There's two jets. They're based out of Vegas for some of it.
Yeah.
And then
because it was easier to go from I think Vegas was like the middle between
a lot of the areas,
yeah.
And then it was like somebody came in and basically went, "We're $5 million in the hole."
Yeah,
and that's a lot of money. Now, never mind back then. That's probably 50 million in today's money, kind of thing. That's all the money was tied up in the TV deal to come later down the road as well.
Because so the TV deals were like, they don't get their ad revenue straight away.
Yeah.
They get it after a certain year or certain amount of time. So
yeah, basically, unlike today where they get a monthly kind of stipend, kind of thing,
or they get the money there and then that's them.
That it was all tied up in bits with it. It was more beneficial for the network. They weren't putting the outlay at the beginning.
Yeah,
they were doing the outlay towards the end of it.
Yeah,
so they could make their money and then
go on from there. Yeah, but because they would still sell out shows, they would still. That was mentioned in the thing from 85 onwards. They would still sell out shows, and that would be a good sale gate. But because they're in so much debt,
they were
going straight to there. They're still in red. They're still in red.
Yeah, and then they mentioned Jim Barnett comes in, and this kind of led to Jim Crockett Jr. getting fired.
Yeah.
He was more in an advisory role at this point anyway, by the sounds of it.
And that only lasted a few weeks, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed to be, this is like the backroom politics bit creeping in. This, as much as we don't know everything about WCW, you know there was backroom politics left, right and centre. Yeah.
Yeah. Everywhere you look, wrestling promotion-wise, there is always backstage politics.
WWE just had one chief at the top. So that's why backroom politics never killed that off. Because if you try to out-politic Vince McMahon, he got rid of you.
But also they had Hulk Hogan as well. So
there was WCW had more stakeholders than just Jim Crockett Jr., Ted Turner. There was other people involved, but at one point they were already gone. I think isn't it? But it's before this, when it was like 3 presidents deep.
Yeah, so this is after Jim Crockett got fired. That's when Jim Barnett comes in. He didn't last that long, and then that goes to... He lasted a while, and then they started going through... Yeah, because they didn't have the wrestling mind. That's the thing.
Yeah, and then the people they did bring in with wrestling minds were either past it or they weren't for this level.
No, because even Dusty Rhodes was a booker. There, he was no one listened.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, no one listened to Dusty.
No,
and that happened with a few other people.
Yeah, there was
many men were like.
There was one person, I forgot his name. Was it Billy something? Billy Shaw, Bill Shaw.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Bill. No, Billy Watts. Bill Watts.
He banned the top rope.
Banned the top rope. He banned the crash mats around the thing. So if you get hit on like concrete, you're hurting.
Yeah, you're going on concrete, mate. Yeah, that was weird. Yes, they go Jim Barnett, backroom politics and all that. You've got more money. Ted Turner's pumping money into this thing, by the sounds of it, keeping it afloat.
Yeah.
I think he was doing it for the ratings. He didn't care about making a profit.
They would pull in ratings, wouldn't they?
Yeah. And by all accounts, the product was better in the ring than WWE. You had Flair versus Steamboat happening. You had Sting in the roster. You had a stacked roster. They had everybody that you could.
They had everyone, yeah. Like I said before, they had Vader. They had Road Warriors. They had the Midnight and the Rock and Roll Express. And wrestling fans, if you are listening to this, you're a bit older, you'd know all of them, right?
And then, the in-ring product was better than WWE, but the backstage was another story.
Mm-hmm.
The storylines weren't. WWE stories back then weren't very good. But WWE had trouble with that. They had trouble with the promos they were doing, other bits. People weren't game to do certain bit. They actually mentioned Flair v Steamboat in this, don't they? As like a pinnacle and a match to what
Flair could have a match with himself, and it would be great.
Yeah, or have one of those matches with nobody in.
Well, or Bushi versus fucking Ragdoll.
Yeah. And then they showed some bloke. Wow, talk about Ragdoll. They showed some bloke in some kind of onesie thing. Like the morph suits.
Yeah, they started doing the whole WWE character thing.
Yeah, which was dying a death at this point anyway. Especially as he got into the 90s and got through that bit.
But even like the start of the 90s, the characters were wild.
Yeah, so you had these presidents who weren't wrestling men. The creative team was never consistent. They were churning through bookers. Agents started to get involved, however that happened.
Yeah, didn't they say they started getting agents, and then the agents would tell them, "You're not losing."
Putting creative into the contracts.
Yeah.
So say bigger money was coming involved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
creative control,
point, or if it was a bit later. They started to pay standing fees, basically, where it doesn't matter if you're on TV or not, you're getting paid this month, which was a first.
So if guaranteed money, wasn't it?
Yeah. It used to be you'd get paid for going to a live show, doing that. You'd get paid for TV. You'd get paid for doing a signing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're everywhere, wrestling every night, because that's how you got paid.
So you got money, yeah. That's how they are rich.
Which is now, and then nowadays it's this newer system of you get paid a flat fee for the month.
Yeah.
You'll get a little bit
you have to wrestle
sell more merch.
X amount, yeah.
Yeah, but even if you got injured, you still get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, that was it. And yeah, that's when they go through trying to reduce the deficit. And I think they said Bill Watts did that. Bill Watts said it, so I don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
In this documentary, he's like, I brought the deficit down from this amount to this amount.
He also got rid of the top rope, and he also got rid of the mats on the floor. And
so I guess then the top rope you had to do with the ref distracted.
Yes, the way he said it was he wanted innovative ways of people to win matches. What? I don't get it. I don't understand that.
This all led to Bill Shaw coming in as the president.
But he didn't know shit about wrestling.
But he put money in the right places, so he was buying gear. He bought more cameras, more handheld cameras.
He bought pyro as well.
Yeah, pyro. He was bringing in better cabling, which sounds like a joke, but if you've ever set up your own computer, you know how important getting your cable management is right.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine now.
Yeah, Lord only knows what it's like running a TV show. And then he made the best decision probably in wrestling history and brought in a marketing guy.
Yeah.
The one, the only Eric Bischoff, who was... I don't know how secret of a wrestling fan he was, apparently, or a wrestling guy, but he basically went, oh no, I'm marketing, I'm this.
Yeah, he sold himself as, I'll get bums on seats, I'll market this, I'll do that. Yeah. But he was also the commentator for wrestling shows back in the day.
And I think he kind of like underplayed that.
Yeah.
Even though he cut his teeth from wrestling, he was very much, they're only going to hire me if I'm not a wrestling guy because they're having trouble with these guys.
Yeah, and he was young, he was fresh. It's something different, right?
Yeah, and Bill Shaw got the money off Ted Turner and let them spend the money what they needed to do.
Yeah.
They had WCW out of the Disney MGM.
Yes, which is now Universal Studios, right?
No, they tried to do Universal.
Yeah, okay.
That never happened.
Yeah.
Forward, Bischoff was the one who managed to get them into MGM by the sounds of it.
Mm-hmm.
Might be wrong. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
And
then he started...
they had the Clash of Champions bit.
They would have... What is it? Do you know... So they wouldn't do pay-per-views. They would have days of when it was on cable, but as a pay-per-view, before it was a pay-per-view. I've said pay-per-view about 20 times now.
It's a PWE.
A PWE, sorry. But what Eric Bischoff would say is, why are we not selling this as a PWE to get more money?
Why don't they sell it
as a paper, a PPV? Fucking hell, so many Ps.
Yeah, they're basically from this older model of what we now are joking as a PWE. Mm-hmm. They went, let's do this as a pay-per-view. Let's make people buy a ticket.
Yeah, or buy that to watch the show.
Yeah, and that was kind of the birth of that, I guess. I mean, WrestleMania was a thing then, so that was happening, but this, I think, was a turning point for WCW.
Yeah, because they would do those shows as a big, spectacular sort of event and a pay-per-view. So,
yeah, and this led to as I said, spending more money. They managed to sign Hulk Hogan. God knows how much they paid him.
I wouldn't know, but he had a big contract. He had creative
think.
control. He could look
Yeah.
how he wanted. He could win and lose when he could choose what he wanted to do.
They did the dream match, didn't they? They did the Daniel Bryanson versus Will Ospreay of their time. They did Hogan versus Flair.
Yeah.
The dream match everyone had booked. They're like, let's do it. Let's do it. And then Hulk was like, creative control, I win.
Yeah.
My title.
Just going back a bit. Daniel Bryanson.
Yeah, I've said it twice and I just decided to carry on. I was struggling there. Look, if I don't butcher at least one person's name, you'll get salty.
Daniel Bryanson.
In my head, I was saying it the right way around, and I was going, nope, I butchered it twice, I'm going past it. If you make a mistake, don't correct yourself and carry on.
Just carry on. Yeah. Smile and wave, boys.
Smile and wave, yeah. But yeah.
So yeah, they get Hulk Hogan. And then, yeah, that's when the sort of cogwheel started to go in Eric Bischoff. Diamond Dallas Page was a part of WCW anyways, but he was also good friends with Scott Hall, and Scott Hall would call DDP and go, I don't want to sign for WWF. I don't want to sign for Vince. Can you get me money?
Yeah, and by the sounds of it, I've seen something before where it's basically the first phone call I think they made was very much he was going to use it as a ploy to get more money out of Vince or better terms or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that, oh, wait, you're going to pay me just for turning up.
I'll jump this, yeah.
And then, hang on a minute, you're going to give me creative control over my character, okay. And then the other, this is crazy. And they explain it a few times in this, that Scott Hall and then Kevin Nash both had match highest earner clauses.
Makes no sense, right? That's mad.
So bear in mind they have Hulk Hogan at this point, right? Who's on a bag. 2 bags, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Hall can sign his contract that says he's on X amount, 1 bag. But as soon as he walks through that door, Hulk Hogan's on 2 bags. Give me 2 bags.
I'm going to. Yeah.
It's almost like your work situation where you're in a pay band that if someone else gets a pay rise, you get one.
I love that.
It's great.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But in wrestling terms, that is an absolute fuckery.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later down the line, but I'll mention it now. They get celebrities on the payroll of WCW.
Yeah.
They're asking for a lot of money, right?
Oh, and the other thing is it's Scott Hall and Kevin Nash's idea to get those celebrities. They're probably sat there going,
I'm making money. Yeah.
I
think that's really smart.
This is all like turning the wheels. It's getting bigger and bolder.
Yeah, before that, didn't Eric Bischoff have a meeting with Turner Broadcasting? And they were like, what would make you like different to WWF and WWE?
What's your magic?
Yeah.
If you had a magic wand kind of thing, what would you do?
Put me on primetime TV and let's make it live.
Let's go head to head, basically.
Yeah. But
give me your slot.
WWF was pre-taped always.
So, yeah, because it's a lot easier to do and cheaper.
Yeah, so the first proper weekly live televised event was Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, weekly TV show, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think WWE was taped like a week in advance, wasn't it?
Yeah, they would do tapings and then...
They would tape it like the week before, show it on the Monday.
Yeah.
So it's not even like it was taped on the Saturday, Sunday. I'm pretty sure it was maybe even the Monday before. It was like a week behind. Because there was no social media, at that time...
You don't know the spoilers or anything like that. Yeah,
there was no discussion. There was no radio shows. And then, so he's like, give me live TV. I can edit it change it on the fly. He managed to get Mondays on TNT for 2 hours, which could go up against the USA Network when
Raw was showing.
And Monday Night Football wasn't a thing for the NFL, which is a huge thing now.
Yeah, especially in America, definitely.
Yeah, because we're watching it the day later anyway.
Yeah.
There's not. If you go to what is TNT over here now was BT Sport.
Yeah.
Or when it was on Sky Sports, there was barely anybody tuning in live.
Because it would be 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. No one's watching Raw every Monday at 1 o'clock unless you're on nights.
Yeah.
You know.
That's why.
So he starts Nitro, and then they're doing it in a shopping mall, which I always forget
really
about.
smart.
See it. Then when I see it, I'm like, this looks amazing. Why didn't they do this anymore?
And they're doing a match, and then because it's a mall, anyone can walk through a mall, right?
Yeah.
Who else but Lex Luger?
Yeah.
Comes through.
So Lex Luger comes in.
Yeah.
And again, nobody would know Lex Luger didn't have a contract.
Yeah. Because he's been portrayed as he was meant to. Fun fact: he was meant to be the next Hulk Hogan in WWF.
Yeah.
Once Hogan signed with WCW.
Yeah, and then he wanted more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then it's just mad to think that first live TV show, I think it was first with proper Pyro, like at weekly TV.
Pyro, weekly TV.
Pyro was probably at Mania, maybe.
Yeah, they'd have stages.
Yeah.
The stage would look nice.
They had more cameras.
Yeah. The fans would go, yeah, you could see the fans selling out. Yeah, it's good for wrestling fans, and that was that 1996?
95, 96.
95, 96, yeah.
Yeah, and you had, but what I've noticed before as well, they had like lights on the crowd, so you could see the crowd.
Yeah, because
early WrestleMania, it's like they dim the lights dark, so you can't see it. So it's a bit, because you don't as well have crowd mics as much, you don't get as much of the atmosphere.
No. But they do that recently now in wrestling shows. They darken the crowd so the focus is more on the wrestlers. And
it varies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It depends where they are and what they're doing these days. But yeah. And then they started spoiling WWE, but I don't think it was as early as when they mentioned it in this documentary. I think they started doing it fairly soon, but it weren't like the first episode of Nitro.
Yeah, I think it was a good few months. When is it on our note?
They mention it basically as Nitro starts because he does the whole weird.
In April 1996, they bury WWE.
Was that the first time they did? I don't know if that was the first time. I think they might have waited. It might have been a bit after.
No, that's where they say it. But that's when the sort of starting of the Monday Night Wars would happen.
Yeah.
Because then that's when you're getting like your Scott Hall and Kevin Nash coming in. And
they just walk through the crowd.
They walk through the crowd. They're talking and acting like Diesel and Razor Ramon, which is their WWF characters. They
don't mention the names. I didn't actually know that bit. They never mention their names.
They don't have to.
So you think WWF are turning up?
Yeah. You think Vince has sent these guys?
Yeah.
To beat up, yeah. Because there's the Scott Hall thing going, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here.
Yeah. And they do the whole WWF try and sue them for
character
infringement.
Yeah.
But then
they do that, and then they also, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember this. So they'd tease Razor Ramon and Diesel coming back.
Yeah.
And they would have fake Razor Ramon and fake Diesel, which is just hilarious.
Clips, yeah, I'd never seen it until a few years ago when it's
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was like May. I think Kevin Nash turns up in the summer sometime.
Yeah.
And then,
so May 27th, 1996 was Scott Hall, and then June the 10th, 1996 was Kevin Nash.
How's this hours this summer?
I'm good with stuff like that.
I know it was Bash at the Beach in 96 when Bad Guy Hogan happened.
Yes.
Which he'd never been bad guy. He would never go bad guy.
What would rock the wrestling world? What would change the world forever? Sort of thing.
Yeah. And this was an accumulation of a few things, wasn't it? It wasn't just the fact that Hogan went bad guy. It was the fact that he went there with the complete and utter anti-wrestling vibe.
Mm-hmm.
He was against the establishment. He was against everything, which hadn't really been done before. Not in America. I'll get onto where it happened in a minute. The new style of promo, they were doing camcorder footage backstage, and by the sounds of it, that was the first time things like that had happened.
It was like your vignettes, wasn't it? They would show vignettes.
It wasn't an interview. It was them with a camera going, "Hey, brother."
Yeah.
Or whatever he would
I'm
say,
the bad guy, sort of thing. Yeah. And I don't. Obviously, I was still a little kid. I'm still rocking NWO, but that changed the landscape.
It opened up the reality aspect.
Yes.
Never mind the cartoon aspect versus reality. It was very much away from the sports side of it. The Mean Gene interviewing and stuff like that.
Then there was wrestling. Then there was an interview. Then there was wrestling.
Yeah, this was now that you can have almost a comedy skit outside of the arena.
It was the start of. I heard it. Vince Russo said it. It was the start of Crash TV, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And then, yes, the NWO is very similar. They mentioned in this documentary to an angle they did in Japan.
Yeah, because they had a group on it. That's where Eric Bischoff got his inspiration from.
Oh, Eric Bischoff, by the sounds of it, is basically... No wonder Eric Bischoff and Tony Khan don't get on, because Tony Khan's using the Eric Bischoff playbook. He'd just go in, see what Japan's got, I'm going to bring them over here. And there's 3 or 4 light bulb moments for me going, yeah, this is why they don't get on, because he's doing exactly what he did in the 90s now.
But Eric Bischoff don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, Eric's very much so. Some of it is just, dude, they didn't work for me. Why are you repeating what I did? And then some of it is very much like, why are you using my idea again?
No, I don't know. I disagree with that. I get where you're coming from, but no, it's different. I don't want to argue AEW today. I don't want to argue my politics today.
Your politics. That's what the podcast is for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it that you go and hang on a minute. That's what they're doing there. He brought it. They're saying this. He brought over superstars from Japan.
Yeah.
He was using their storylines.
Yeah,
he brought in the cruiserweight weights.
That's what would get me. Like, I love Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Chris Jericho. They had Jushin Thunder Liger, who the New Japan. Do you know who that is?
I've seen bits. He was mentioned in that, but no, not. Yeah. Probably would have seen quite a bit of it, because I remember Mysterio being on TV and Jericho and being like, damn.
Yeah. And then you have Juventud Guerrera, Psychosis, Super
How
Crazy.
Would you say that one?
Juventud Guerrera.
Juventud?
Yeah, Juventud. How would you say it?
I ain't got a clue.
No. How would you say it? No. Look at my notes. Look at my notes. Look at my notes and say it. Whilst my hay fever kills my nose off. I'm sorry for rubbing my nose.
Just call him Guerrera. It's fine.
No.
I like how you've got 3 R's in there as well.
Guerrera, yeah.
Roll those R's.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like they were firing on all cylinders. They were doing a lot of new, innovative stuff on TV. And then, well, it was still building. And then they did, it was at this point, weren't it? So there was a lot happened then between that kind of April 96.
Yeah.
And then from June 96 to April 98, Nitro beat Raw in the ratings every week. Which is just like an amazing statistic. Because no matter how good the ratings were for Raw,
Nitro would be better. Yeah.
And no matter what the product difference was, because there'd be some weeks that Raw probably was better than Nitro at this point.
Mm-hmm. But that's when the Attitude Era would start.
Yeah, but it's very much of, if you're the USA Network going, why are we losing?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. They won't look at the product. They say in this, networks don't like wrestling. They like having the eyes on their adverts.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're looking at TBS going, hang on, this time slot, they're beating us on. Similar content.
Why is that? Yeah.
It'd be very uncomfortable conversations, especially when it's near enough 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just shy of 2 years kind of thing.
80 weeks, I think it was. Wasn't it?
Something like that, weren't it?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And that's very good for Eric Bischoff and but even better for Ted Turner, because you're still being innovative. You're showcasing wrestling, but then you're also showcasing reality of the New World Order taking over. You've got Bill Goldberg, who's starting to get some traction and stuff.
Yeah, so they show off what they called the power plant, which is basically the developmental center before the developmental center was a thing.
Yeah. Fun fact, Batista trialed at the WCW power plant, and he got laughed out of the building and said, "You will never become something."
And he became one of the biggest Hollywood and one of the biggest wrestlers on the planet.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
So they interviewed the person who trained Goldberg, and then was like, he wasn't allowed to speak. And then that made me realise, because then Bill Goldberg come on and spoke. I was like, I've never heard that man speak before. And I can tell why they never let him speak.
Yeah.
That voice does not match that look.
Yeah. Yeah, have you
He
seen
sounds like a lovely guy. Right?
Yeah.
But he does not sound
he's
like
a beast and like, yeah. He's, oh, hi.
Yeah. He's like, hey, guys.
Yeah.
I was completely disconnected at this point because I was going, and I probably don't know the next 20 minutes of this documentary. I'm like going, that's his voice.
That's his,
Bill Goldberg.
Just like, what the hell?
And he had those little sunglasses on. I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
You can tell this is an early 2000s documentary, whatever it was.
But I enjoyed watching Goldberg because it was just spear, jackhammer, win. Spear, jackhammer, win. And that spear is one of the top spears in ever.
Yeah, it was. And the jackhammer's an impressive move, especially with some of the people he does it on.
Paul White, Big Show, he does it to him.
Yeah.
He does it to Kevin Nash. He does it to all the big guys.
And so he goes undefeated. I think it's in 97 he appears in. And then in July, so he's built up for pretty much a year. He goes to the Georgia Dome. And was this on TV?
This was on TV.
This is crazy. So this is like the first bit of the downfall in my head when they showed this off, right?
Yeah.
Over 40,000 people are in the building. It was announced 3 days before it, and it's for a Nitro episode on a Monday night. How did everybody miss the fact that this is a pay-per-view moment?
This is a pay-per-view moment. This could have got well over 100,000 pay-per-view buys. They would have sold that out. Yeah.
He was. Goldberg was on fire. You could have easily had a month build-up, had that pay-per-view, and it would have been the biggest pay-per-view of all time at that point.
Because you could have Goldberg beat every single member of NWO up until Hogan, and that would have worked. That would have been storytelling.
Because it was a storyline. Because this wasn't a boxing event where some of the matches these days now don't have story behind them. They're just straight up. It's a wrestler versus a wrestler. It's a fight. There's no story behind it. This had the story. This had the build-up. Goldberg had that year of he is undefeated. There is a streak here.
Yeah, it's the momentum, isn't it? Yeah.
So if you just put 4 weeks behind it and went, in 4 weeks' time at Bash of the Beach or whatever pay-per-view you wanted it at, Hogan v Goldberg, the streak versus the icon. I know Sting was the icon, but
the streak versus the legend.
Yeah,
that's how I would have done it. Yeah.
But this is very much they wanted the ratings over
Raw because it was the Monday Night Wars, and they wanted to continue their streak.
There's a reason why WWE at the minute do not change titles on TV, and it's at an event. They want you to tune in to their pay-per-views because you're buying it directly off them.
Yeah,
you're on the network. You're on Peacock. Is it in America?
And it's just like AEW as well.
Yeah. AEW, you have to have a subscription and then you have to pay for the event, which don't even get me started on. That is mental. And it's not there. It's obviously the deal they've got with Thriller or whoever it is. But my God, just put it on as one subscription service. Please go on HBO Max. Just go on.
Yeah,
HBO
please go.
Just please. Anyway, back to this. Goldberg wins the belt. The streak lives. If that was WWF at the time, Hogan would have won that.
Yeah.
Fair play to Hogan. I know he's...
Hogan must have been paid a lot of money to go, I don't... he would have been, who the fuck's Goldberg? Yeah.
And, it's very much... I think people were chucking stuff in the ring as well. I don't think people were happy Goldberg won.
People chuck stuff, especially in Nitro, if you ever saw, a full episode of Nitro, the fans would be wild.
It's shock horror, kind of oh my God. Never mind the bit where the finger poke happens, but we'll get to
that. This is the downfall.
Yeah, this definitely. I think you put in the notes somewhere here. Yeah, I have. Just about. Yeah, we've got one more bit, and then it's the fall begins in my eyes.
Yeah.
So they started getting the celebs on the action, which certain celebs made sense, but so they did the other thing as well that now is quite common. Cody Rhodes come over for a UK tour the other week, and he was on Good Morning Britain, which is like the mum and dad's blooming show.
Yeah.
In the morning. Me and Natasha ain't watching that.
No.
I have, because I watched that interview.
I wouldn't.
Cody Rhodes interview.
Yeah.
But Roman Reigns goes on.
Tonight Show or Jimmy Fallon or...
Thank you.
Whatever it is. Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres and stuff like that.
And Hogan and that were going on Jay Leno. And then Jay Leno come to WCW and had a match.
Yep.
This is the start of the celebs appearing and money going up again.
Mm-hmm.
And they also, at this point, Eric Bischoff again revolutionised it by the sounds of it and put press conferences involved.
He got press conferences. He got Hogan took over the show, the whatever Jay Leno show was.
Yeah.
And that's when the arguments started happening and stuff like that. And yeah, I think there was one funny bit I saw where it was like Jay Leno gets Hulk Hogan like in an arm lock and keeps Hogan in it for the paparazzi to take a picture. But you're like, this guy,
but that picture's everywhere in the morning.
Yeah.
Again, no social media. Every
publicity,
newspaper,
isn't it? Yeah. Every newspaper.
It's genius.
Yeah.
At the time, not to sound like I'm completely in love with the bloke because he's done some weird and terrible things over the years, but Eric Bischoff at this time is a genius.
Yeah.
And other people, and if someone's got an idea and he's stealing it, fair play, because it's working. They were firing on all cylinders. They were getting everything right.
They had their momentum.
Yeah. And then some of the bad decisions that they had made start to creep in.
I.e. getting Dennis Rodman. No, they didn't get Dennis Rodman in. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall got Dennis Rodman in.
Yeah. The first bit, it happens, I don't know what year this was on. I didn't write that down, but Halloween Havoc happens.
Yeah.
And they basically think that they can go past their time limit.
Oh, yeah.
So they give them 3 hours through, I don't know how
for
long
a pay-per-view. Yeah.
Whatever the 3 hour time slot is, say, they go over. And they think they're just going to get given the time, but no, they pulled the plug. And it led to them having to refund pretty much everyone's Halloween Havoc.
That was well over $1 million. Yeah.
And yeah, like now, there must be some redundancy. So WWE would go to Peacock or whoever, say, the show's going to be 3.5 hours, but can you give us half hour afterwards so we could go up to the 4 hour mark if we need?
Yeah.
And that will be, so they do it also over here for like soccer football matches. They'll have
they'll
TV
have
show
a grace period. Yeah, they'll have a grace period.
They'll have a repeat of something or a overview of football afterwards.
Yeah.
And so they've got, if it goes to extra time and penalties, they have that time to still have the whole event.
Yeah.
But back then it was, no, you're off. Our next show's on. And that again is the whole, they didn't get wrestling. They weren't big wrestling fans. If that was the NFL back then, the NFL was going into overtime, they'd have got that time.
Yeah, they would have got that time straight away. Even wrestling today would get that time. I would say they would get that time.
They'd have it negotiated. WCW just thought they could get away with it.
Yeah.
And little did they know. No, they couldn't.
No, they couldn't at all.
And then they were showing off the finger poke of doom, which
they did hot potato with the title too much, I think. Because every other week, every time I would tune in, there'd be a different world champion.
Yeah, and it works in some regards. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin constantly chasing the belt and only holding it for a few weeks and then winning it back 4 weeks later and then having it for 8 weeks and then losing it again and then winning it.
Yeah, but that would be one person. That would be like between The Rock or Undertaker or
there'd be
Triple
one
H.
third person in for a couple of weeks and then it will be out again. Yeah. But yeah, they were playing hot potato and everyone was chaff. And everyone, like, if you weren't one of those top stars, Jericho says it, I think, in this. He's saying that you couldn't get past a certain point. There was a ceiling.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a glass ceiling, it was concrete.
It was concrete. So you'd have...
not going anywhere.
And then at the top...
It's why you need competition, because people need to be able to go from brand to brand to brand to build themselves and go, you know what, I am that good.
I am that good. Look at
Matt
Jericho.
Cardona. Look at Matt Cardona now.
Yeah.
Matt Cardona's gone to the Indies, done a tour of the Indies, and... he's made himself.
Yeah,
Drew McIntyre did it 10 years. Yeah, 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Yeah.
He went away as this. He says, I think he said it before in an interview. He deserves to be fired from the WWE, and then he made himself unfireable.
Yeah,
he's just got the bag and got the terms and conditions he wants from WWE that are more favourable for him because he's earned it.
Look at Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
but
Cody
also
Rhodes went out there. Yeah,
I know it sounds bad, but also look at some of the people in AEW now. Look at Swerve Strickland. He was getting big in WWE, got released. Look at him now.
Yeah.
Champion.
Yeah. And that's why you need to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to have this variety of... it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
No.
But you don't just go, oh, look at that, that's crap. Do you watch it? No, it's crap. If you don't watch it, I watch it. I can crap on it because I watch it.
Okay.
It's not my cup of tea. But I'm not one of these people online just go in, that sucks. Have you just watched that episode? No. Have you watched that bit? No.
I just don't like it. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to like that because it's not WWE. Or I'm not going to like that, it's not AEW. No, hang on.
It sounds like you, mate. I'm not going to lie.
No, I watch it and then go, that's shit.
No, you watch
and
clips.
Then you're like, no, this is great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've watched it. These people online these days aren't watching any of it. They go in. They're not even watching WWE. They're just going, WWE is great. Shit on AEW. You know?
Yeah.
That's how some people are these days. And then you have bot accounts.
Yeah, okay, yeah, true.
Yeah,
true.
A lot of it's that. At least with us, we'll watch, have you seen that clip? No. Then I watch the clip and go, yeah, I didn't get that. Or I didn't enjoy that.
I think you should just start watching the full episodes.
No, get it from me. Put the character work in and then I'll watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, Big Show walks in. So back to this. Big Show's in a clip saying, I wanted a raise, was told no.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, hang on a minute, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash are getting unlimited raises every time
someone big comes in. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're saying to Big Show at the time he was a rising star as well.
Yeah.
Might not be the best wrestler ever.
Have you seen some of his matches in WCW?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, he should have been a cruiserweight.
Yeah. But it's very much, he's not the superstar.
He's not the draw.
He never became that, did he?
Mm-hmm.
He probably could have done at one point.
Yeah.
Especially when he got to WWF. They always built him up, and then crashed him down.
Yeah.
Took ages to build him back up again.
He was a big star when he first come in, and then dropped off, and then built up, dropped off, built up, dropped off. But then look at Jericho. Jericho left WCW, became a household name in WWE.
And now he's beating up Hook.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
He's the learning tree now.
Yeah.
Which
hero.
Bring back Judas, please.
He's an absolute hero.
Bring back Judas. And then, so I don't know if this was in his contract or not, but Nash was the booker or had booking rights or...
Yeah.
Not just creative control here. This was...
He would book the show. Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to Eric Bischoff at this point or what he was doing.
I caught the Dark Side of the Ring. Eric Bischoff was actually let go. And then that's when they brought in Vince Russo.
So was this happening at the same time as his Kevin Nash versus Goldberg angle happened?
Let me...
So Starrcade in 98, I take it. So Halloween Havoc was October. Maybe November? I think it was October. Halloween's in October, so I'm going to say it's October. That was Halloween Havoc. That got pulled. Had to do the refunds. December comes around, it's Starrcade. Goldberg's still undefeated.
What year are we on?
I'm pretty sure it's 98.
Okay, Bischoff is still there.
Okay. So Goldberg versus Nash. Goldberg's still undefeated. Nash goes, ha! No, I'm beating him.
Yeah.
And
made no sense.
Yeah, by the sound of it, I don't think I've ever seen this match. By the sounds of it, it wasn't a very good match.
Scott Hall gets a taser out and tasers Goldberg.
That's not that match, though, is it?
It is.
Is that in the match?
I
thought that was like the next few episodes of Nitro.
No.
The living hell out of it. Oh, okay. But that sounds wild.
Yeah.
Now I want to watch it.
And then that's when Hogan, that's the finger poke of doom, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 99, isn't it?
Yeah. So Hogan comes back because I want my title. I want all of this. Kevin Nash, I'm facing you. And then that happens. January 4th, 1999.
They did. The first time that Hogan joined the NWO was almost a finger pointed doom, but it finger poke him. Finger point.
No, because it wasn't though. Because
it was a swerve.
It was a swerve. This wasn't a swerve. This was just shit.
Let me poke you.
Yeah, let me poke you. Oh, I've fallen. Yeah. Oh, you're going to pin me. Yeah. Sour taste of wrestlers, isn't it?
Yeah, they needed something else to happen afterwards to sell it more. Like, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look around. There would have been an angle they could have done straight after that in the same bit and got away with the finger poke. Because that was it. That was the show. That was the highlight.
Yeah.
It didn't work well.
Yeah. And that's actually, funnily enough, a few months later, that's when Eric Bischoff was let go and Vince Russo comes in. Now, for fans that have maybe heard of Vince Russo, he was the reason why the Attitude Era was so good I'll give him that.
Yes, they say in this, basically, Vince Russo was a creative at WWE, but he was filtered by McMahon and other people by going, rein him back.
Yeah.
He was brought in to replace Bischoff because he was so good at this.
Mm-hmm.
But then it turned out when he didn't have a filter, oh my God.
Funnily enough, watching the Dark Side of the Ring episode of what we're going to talk about soon, Vince Russo wanted more money in WWE because he would have to write Raw and SmackDown. But the week after he was let go, he joined WCW.
And why wouldn't you pick him up at the time? But it goes back to the earlier with, hang on, what was his name?
Bill Shaw? Watts?
No, the one before. Bill Watts. On paper, that was a brilliant appointment. However, the reality of it didn't work. Because
it was outdated.
Said, there was no one to filter him.
There was no one to filter. It was outdated what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yes, he did the Cold Crash TV where it was short match, segment, backstage fight, short match, vignette, segment, backstage fight.
Yeah.
It didn't really work in WCW.
No, because it'd been going on for too long anyway.
Yeah.
Like, at that point, you need to freshen it up. It's what's happening. Well, we're in the cycle of wrestling. You have your highs, your lows, and that. In the cycle of wrestling, you have your highs and lows, and you go up and down. You have, this idea is great. Let's run with it week in, week out. Let's have a year out of it. Probably should end after a year.
Yeah.
They carry it on for another year and a half, and it starts to wear thin. And then you get the low. Let's innovate. At the minute, WWE have all these weird camera angles and like the walkthroughs. If they keep doing that for too long or too often, you'll get sick of it. But if they use it sparingly,
right now it's fresh, right?
Yeah. It's WWE a few years ago was choppy cameras, and you'd get whiplash. You don't need Will Ospreay in the ring to give you whiplash. The cameras would do it. Now you've got Will Ospreay doing it to you.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But they were doing this Crash TV, and it was starting to wear thin. WWE or WWF at the time started to move away from it slowly.
Yeah. They started to introduce actual wrestling again and longer matches.
And the promos in the ring started to get a bit longer, especially with The Rock and things like that. As they found the kind of gold on the microphone and stuff like that, they gave them space. They weren't trying to cram everyone in. WCW had that many people on the payroll at higher level. You had to try and get them in the show because or else what you're paying them for.
Yeah.
And you have that issue. That's why you can't have all your top talent in one brand. You need your mid card, your lower card, your rising stars, and you
just get celebrities coming in all the time.
Which is what these did. Whoever's idea this was, so they had the two basketball players, Rodman and the other one, who were on full payroll.
Yeah.
Again, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash were like, here, you know what's a good idea?
Bring him in. Yeah,
on 3 bags. Now I get paid 3 bags.
Yeah.
Although at this point they're probably on 5 bags.
Bring in David Arquette.
Yeah, who I don't really know outside of WCW.
No. They had that film, which then I can't remember what the film is called, man.
I also like how both of us spelled his name differently.
How did I spell it? With a Q?
You've got a Q and I just went with a K.
Nice.
At least you put the U after the Q. But yeah, this was like 2000, wasn't it? He came in.
Yeah.
He got made a world champion, but then kept the belt for quite a while as well, didn't he?
He didn't keep the belt. He did. So yeah, that was in for the release of the film called Ready to Rumble.
Right.
And fair enough, you want to promote the film. That's fine. But to win the world championship in an actual wrestling event, which is not a movie, it leaves a sour taste in people's mouths, doesn't it? People like Ric Flair and Sting and Hogan to a point, Kevin Nash. But Kevin Nash will probably just laugh about it and go, haha, more money for me.
Yeah. If it's a comedy angle, like Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania the year, or like in a tag match like the Jay Leno one was and stuff like that, you can get away with it. Like, you can suspend your belief to go, okay, yeah, Hogan's in an armbar. Johnny Knoxville's bringing out all sorts of weird and wonderful prank gimmick.
Yeah.
Like, you can buy into that for that moment. But when you've got somebody coming in who's clearly not a wrestler, winning the world championship in a serious manner.
Yeah.
it doesn't. Even then, it doesn't work.
It doesn't bode well, does it?
Yeah,
at all.
And at this point, even I'm looking at the day here, and I'm like, yeah, at this point, I was definitely watching SmackDown. I don't think I was finding WCW anymore.
I remember Ready to Rumble, and I remember that match that they had where they had the layers of cages.
Yeah, I've seen that years later. I don't think I ever seen that.
I remember pulling up the channel and watching that because I was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
It was wild.
And then, yeah, he hits him with the guitar or whatever on top.
Yeah, he hits Jeff Jarrett, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact, though, well, really, not a fun fact, but just one of my favourite WCW moments of all time.
Shoot.
Is, do you know Beetlejuice, the dwarf kind of person? Jeff Jarrett has slap nuts on his thing, and then Beetlejuice is like, who are you meant to be? Slap nuts. And then Jeff Jarrett just goes, it's Mr. Slapnuts to you, and then just bashes him over the head with the guitar. It is so funny.
Okay.
It is so funny. Yeah, well, I'll find the clip for you later, and then I'll show it you.
Yeah. And then at some point around this as well, you've got bands appearing. So Kiss, and I think they said Megadeth. I'm not making up Megadeth.
I think that was the Megadeth of WCW. They had the band Kiss.
They had them appear in that. And I don't know if that was the first time ever that like a band had appeared and played on stage. I'd like to say cool if it was. I don't know if WWE had done it. Obviously, they had singers in for
WrestleMania, but
singing the doodah.
Yeah.
America the Beautiful. But yeah, that was kind of like, again, big money out the door. God knows how much Kiss got paid. And then you've got, it's Bash to the Beach, isn't it?
Yeah, 2000.
This is Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, this is funny. It's not funny, but it's the whole sort of backstage politics again, isn't it?
Yeah, around this time, by the sounds of it, the atmosphere was getting sour and toxic within the business. People like weren't fun anymore.
So they tried Bischoff, they got rid of him. They tried Russo, it wasn't working. What better way to have everything working again and having Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo 50-50 creative and booking the shows?
Yeah.
You're always going to argue if you're going to have that. Eric Bischoff is the Hulk Hogan man. Hulk Hogan, in his contract, quite clearly says, I can choose the outcome of my matches.
Yeah, but also everyone else can as well.
And everyone else can as well. Yeah. So, Bash at the Beach. I didn't know this. I don't know if everyone knows, but Jeff Jarrett was the world champion. He lays down, Hulk Hogan pins him, Jeff Jarrett walks out. Hogan's like, this is why the company's in the shitters, because bullshit like this.
Yeah.
And then it was like Hulk Hogan had quit. That was a part of the plan, allegedly. The plan was for Hulk Hogan to actually beat Jeff Jarrett like that, like kind of that, and then Hulk Hogan leaves. And then on that Monday Nitro, they would announce a tournament to have all stars fighting up until Halloween Havoc, which is in October. So like a few months.
Yeah, so July to October.
Yeah.
That would have been,
That would have been. Then before Halloween Havoc would happen, Hulk Hogan would return and go, you're after the bout that I haven't lost and haven't, like, this is the real world championship.
See a poke?
Yeah, this is the real world championship. But it didn't pan out like that at all. So Vince Russo ideally wanted Hulk Hogan to lose against Jarrett during the match. But then Jarrett having double duty and facing Booker T for the title, because everyone wanted, allegedly to Vince Russo, everyone wanted Booker T to be world champion.
Booker T was over at this point, weren't he?
Booker T was over. He's been there for 14 years now. In WCW.
I didn't know he was there for that long.
He was there.
Damn.
Yeah. So Hogan and Eric Bischoff have now left the building.
Yeah.
That was going to a part of the plan. And then Vince Russo comes out and cuts that promo going, Hogan, you're the pipe bomb before the pipe bomb.
Yeah.
Hogan, you're a piece of shit.
You'll never work here again.
You'll never work here again. You're a big, bold bitch, is what he called him.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. So if you do get a chance to watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode, it's just funny to go, no one was ever allowed to call Hulk Hogan bald, even though he is bald.
He had the side hair.
He's still bald though, on top, isn't he? Oh, sorry, my hay fever is dying today. Then Vince Russo announces that it will be Booker T versus Jeff Jarrett at the main event.
Yeah.
But no one knew that. No one knew it. So it was being booked there and then.
Yeah.
It was
on the fly.
It was like 2010's Vince McMahon sort of booking. It was on the fly.
Mid-match, no injury. I'm changing the outcome.
Yeah. Or I'm just about to go out for a match. Your match has been cancelled.
Yeah, which happened. What did I see?
We saw the clip, didn't we? Liv Morgan.
That was it. Yeah, she was going out for. Was it with Naomi or somebody?
Nia Jax, I think.
No,
or
I
Natalia. Might have been Natalia.
Yeah. And
one of them. Yeah. One of the ends.
Anyway, it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it wasn't even him telling them, it was one of the producers. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've cancelled the match.
Yeah.
And then in the background of all this, so TBS, Ted Turner's organisation, had already merged with Time Warner. Or become Time Warner.
And
he'd lost some control already. And then it merged with AOL. And he basically got cut out. Ted Turner lost all control of everything by the sounds of it. And I don't know how quickly or how true.
This is the issue though, isn't it? Networks hate wrestling.
Yeah, so Time Warner didn't get it. Time Warner went, what is this and why is it so prevalent? Mm-hmm. AOL absolutely despised it.
Yeah.
Didn't want anything to do with it, wanted it gone.
Mm-hmm.
Time Warner, AOL, the conglomerate it was, basically started to shop it around in 2001.
Yeah.
And I think they approached Vince McMahon by the sounds of it. And as Jericho said, if I knew the price, he could have bought it.
Yeah, Vince paid fuck all for it.
Yeah, Vince probably maybe paid $1 million, if that.
I don't even think it was that.
Maybe not. Yeah. I don't know if anyone knows what the value was.
Shall we check it?
Try and find it out. Yeah. But basically, he got given WCW because of the operating costs, because of everything. Because even if he shut it down he did shut it down fairly quickly. He still had lots to pay off and lots of things.
2.5 mil.
Damn, because that's even though it's like more than the middle I said, that's not much.
That's not much, especially knowing what profit WCW put in.
Yeah,
and had.
I suppose you would have had to find a new network for it. You would have had to had some capital behind you to do that.
Yeah,
but that's like picking up a Premier League football team for
pennies. Yeah, less than that. Yeah, it's like
50 million.
We're from Coventry. It's the new owners of Cov. They didn't pay much for them.
Yeah, like that. It was. Well, no, it's almost like if Jim Ratcliffe could buy Man United for 10 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Million. It's $1 billion company, and you've just bought it for a tenth of the value.
For a pittance.
Yeah, and also don't forget. So at this time, it wasn't just wrestling contracts and stuff like that, which they could go, you're in or you're out. Sting left. Sting never signed for WWF.
Yeah, Ric Flair also did the same.
Yeah, like they just ripped the contracts up. They didn't have to get paid out or anything. Or if they did, it was a pittance of what they should have been paid out.
Yeah.
So but they got the video library of everything. They got the rights to all the events they could, all the merchandise they could sell, the NWO stuff, all of that. The reason he has a T-shirt on is because WWE let somebody sell that T-shirt. His money's not gone to WCW. It has, but it's gone into
Vince McMahon's pocket.
Or TKO's now.
Yeah.
Well, no, you've had that T-shirt for ages, so it would Vince.
It would have been Vince,
You paid for a text message.
I did.
Leave it at that.
And then Vince, purchases it, and what a way to showcase that he's bought the company than to go on that network, that TV show, and go, I've bought this company, I've won the war.
They dual broadcast, didn't they? The Titantron both had a Raw image and the Nitro image, and Shane turned up and Shane bought WCW.
Yeah.
So
W was bought by a McMahon. But it's not the McMahon that you're on about. Yeah.
And then he kicked off the invasion angle, which
I didn't mind the invasion angle.
As a kid watching that, that was great.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah.
Looking back at it now, going, hang on, where are all the big stars?
Yeah, exactly.
Where is everybody?
Exactly.
At the if you ask me what is the invasion angle, it's that Stone Cold moment. The glass breaking, him coming back, kicking everyone's ass down to the ring.
Yeah.
To save the day. And it's that. That's makes it all worth it.
And then you have the pay-per-view, which is WWF Invasion, where it was WCW and ECW versus WWF.
Yeah, and that's the end of it. That is the fall. The fall was very quick and very like...
It happened all at once.
Yeah, it wasn't... This day and age, if one of them was in trouble, people say AEW is in trouble. They're not.
They're not.
If they're in trouble, there'd be story after story after story. Is people just going, huh? How
people being negative Aarons. I'm not calling them negative Nancy's. I'm going to start calling them negative Aarons.
I'm not a negative. I'll stick up for it when it's good, but it's not always good.
Yeah.
You're just blind to your Tony Khan lovins.
Where?
Where are the empty seats? I can't see them. But people are like, oh, it's dying a death. It's not. Mainly because the Khan family are billionaires. Losing 20 million is like losing a £20 note. Oh, I've lost it, but I'll get it back.
They are slowly making their profit back.
Yeah,
and
they're building a
make
business.
Money. You forget. This is the comparison I have. WCW had the talent because it was Midwest and Georgia and NWA and all that. AEW have only been in business for 5 years, and they had to buy a roster and buy. To be that big in 5 years is very, very impressive. But WCW, yes, they weren't WCW prior, but they were already a well-established wrestling promotion before the name change.
And WCW and AEW have done the same thing where they bought the talent. They probably paid over the market price for most of their talent, but that's what they have to do.
Yeah.
But that will also bring the value of talent up around the world.
And
you've just got to be careful that it doesn't destroy independent wrestling in certain places.
Yeah, which I don't think in this day and age it won't. The UK is getting destroyed because of WWE.
No, the UK wrestling, it was a little bit with the NXT UK, but it was mainly COVID. Absolutely.
COVID also crippled it, yeah.
Like now, these days, the reason they shut down NXT UK was because of the lack of, like, they couldn't sustain it after COVID anyway. But it was like everyone who was in there that was any decent was ready to go to
the main roster or America,
very close to making main time TV. Almost to now, the UK independent scene's getting better and better. It's building back up. There's more shows going on. There's more events.
Yeah.
Progress has just signed a deal with the ones, I can't remember what they are now in America. They've teamed up with another independent wrestling in America to try and showcase more talent across the Atlantic.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
All right.
I can't remember who it was now. I did see it. I think they're going to do a cross promotion and
that'll be good. Showing. That'll be good.
Yeah, and you need that.
You need that.
The issue is if AEW's roster is stacked. If they have this stacked roster and then go, I'm going to give £500,000 to everybody that's any good to stop WWE getting them, that's when it goes bad because they won't develop. They need to be released in the wild. Kind of thing.
Yeah. But this is the thing. WWE have done it. AEW are starting to do it. It's a good time. I think Jericho said it, and even Ric Flair said it, was they need competition. Wrestling thrives under competition. Look at WWE now. Why are they so big again? Is because of AEW.
No, it's The Rock.
It's not, though.
The Rock's made wrestling cool again.
Yeah.
Forget everything else that happened for the year and a half before he turned back up.
Yeah.
The Rock turned up and wrestling is cool again.
Thank you, Rock.
Thank you, Rock. Thank you. We only made this podcast because of you, Rock.
Yeah. We hate
If you will sponsor us with tequila.
Thank you. I will love you if you...
This water bottle that I drink every episode.
Yeah, this whatever cup tequila. I've got could be tequila.
Yeah. And WCW built wrestling up in the 90s. You would not have the WWE we have today.
If it wasn't for WCW. Yeah, 100%.
And you wouldn't have AEW now if WWE did go so bad as it did in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
No, early 2010s was all right.
It was it was 2012 onwards, I'd say. No, not 2012. No, 2013. 2013.
13, 14,
when did we leave? When did we leave game?
I
But
2015. I left.
That's when it got bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I dipped out again then.
Yeah.
Good.
I started watching more indie wrestling then.
Yeah, we went to indie wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not Indian wrestling, indie.
I'll go to Indian wrestling.
Shall we? Shall we create a promotion?
What is that one that keeps coming up now? This is complete tangent. This end of the podcast is going to be wild. But what's that thing that's going on like in Africa where they keep showing off that?
Oh, SWG. Oh, that's
yeah.
Like the mud wrestling, but they make a wrestling ring, but it's great.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay got an invite to it?
Yeah, I think he donated for equipment or something they needed.
Yeah.
So I got that come up and I was like, what is this?
Mm.
I think you sent it me on TikTok or something. Like,
yeah.
This is great. We will go back to WCW, do some of their pay-per-views.
I'd like to, yeah. Did you have a favourite WCW wrestler that wasn't Sting. Goldberg? Okay.
No, yeah, other than Sting, it's probably Rey Mysterio. I didn't know Eddie Guerrero much until WWE.
Okay.
That's when Eddie Guerrero was big for me. I knew of him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really remember much. I remember Jericho.
Yeah.
I
His
like
1001 hold, where he plays the list. Yeah. He's still going when there's a commercial against Steven Lake. That's hilarious.
That kind of kicked off the whole. I always liked the cruiserweight in WWE. I just like how different it was at the time.
If it wasn't for WCW, you wouldn't have that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think
because they got all the cruiserweights from WCW,
Mexico and Japan.
Yeah, I would go with Vampiro. I used to love Vampiro, man. He was cool.
I did like Scott Hall. NWO.
Scott Steiner. You on about? Not Scott Steiner. Scott Hall. Yeah, NWO were NWO though, weren't they? Yeah, they were cool. I was the Wolf Pack. I was always the Wolf Pack. That's why I got the red on. Yeah, no, I enjoyed watching WCW from what I can. I remember Buff Bagwell, his mom on a pole match, and stuff like that. Or not on a pole, on a crane. That was when Vince Russo was around, Yeah, it was wild. It was
weird.
Mm-hmm.
That I definitely checked out by the Vince Russo bit. At that point, it was SmackDown or...
It was SmackDown or Raw.
Saturday morning. No, it was SmackDown because that was Saturday morning.
Saturday mornings, yeah.
That's when I could watch it. Mm-hmm. And then the odd pay-per-view whenever they were free.
On Sky Sports, yeah.
Sense. But Sky chose the odd one here and there and just made them free.
Mm-hmm. It was great for us.
Yeah. And it's just wild to think back at.
That time.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Like, we weren't very old, but we knew what
we think back now and go, oh, hang on a minute, Jesus. No wonder you're bloodthirsty and one skewers in heads every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we'll wrap up to today's episode there.
Mm-hmm.
Rambled at the end. So thank you for listening to this week's episode. First time looking at WCW, won't be the last.
No. Let us know let us know what PWE you want us to review of WCW.
Yeah. And if you really like this one, please let us know because we have planned already to do the rise and fall of ECW.
Yeah.
As a kind of companion to this one.
And
if you really want it, it will come sooner than we've got planned.
Yeah.
Just when we can fit it in.
When we can fit it in around the busy
TNA
schedule.
need to stop coming up with really random 2-night
pay-per-views. Yeah. Oh, no, PWEs. We're calling them PWEs now.
Everything's a PWE now.
Would you class WCW overall a burger or a banger?
Burger.
I'm going to go within the middle.
I remember the high bits, but I reckon it's a bit like the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
If you go back and try and watch week after week, I bet you it's nowhere near as good as you remember. You remember those key bits.
Yeah.
And it's not like now where... So some of the bits, one of the biggest things people have now where they're going, oh, that didn't work, or this bit didn't work in like WWE and AEW, is because you're so tuned in and watching it all the time. And because you've got access to every clip.
Mm-hmm.
If it was back then and you were watching it, you just remember that highlight. Going, Raw was amazing last night because of this 1 5-minute segment. Doesn't matter that
it doesn't matter, because the whole 3 hours could be shit, but that 1 5-minute promo or match,
it's
was
like
the saving grace.
SmackDown, not the one before Backlash, the one before that one, where my boy Carmelo Hayes.
Oh yeah,
Hayes.
Hayes. Yeah.
Carry on, Carmelo.
Yeah. First name basis.
Yeah, and Cody Rhodes do their weird springboard thing. When you see the clip, it looks horrendous. When you watch the actual the match, it looks bad, but not as bad as the clip.
It's out of context these days.
A lot of it's out.
And I feel like that's what you get from AEW is you get the out of context clips.
Yeah, but out of context, it looks horrendous half the time.
So then you're contradicting yourself, you dick.
No, I'm not. They've not earned my full attention. I will watch their clip, and if the clip's not good enough, I'll call it out on that.
Okay. All right.
That's how it works.
But yeah, no, guys, thank you very much.
On a side note, Tony Khan, if you have press passes for All In and you give them me, I'll watch Collision every week up until All In.
Don't worry, Tony Khan. I'll rein him in. I'll put a leash on him. It'll be Aaron on a leash match.
Aaron on a leash. Never mind the what's it called? The collar round with the bull rope.
Yeah,
bull rope.
Dog collar match, isn't it?
Dog collar or whatever. Yeah, it was. I don't know.
But yeah, no, thank you guys. Don't forget you can follow us on social media. That's at Make a Fan of You. We're on X, Instagram, and TikTok. We have hit that 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. I'm very, very happy about that. We love all of your attention you're getting.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, but don't forget you can listen to us where you get your podcast from, whether that's Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, RSS. We appreciate any
Carrier
feedback.
Pigeon, talking parrot.
Where else?
Talking parrots.
Talking parrot, lions.
I'm training parrots to read it. Imagine if I had a parrot that could do your voice. Sorry, I'm completely delusional.
We got AI for that.
I'm hungry. I need to eat.
Yeah, that sounds good. But with that, thank you all, and hit the music.